right, we have the dailies right now, and this is what you're waking up to on the front page of the Standard today. Ruto's gift to women. Electoral offer. President tells a caucus of 7 women governors that the ruling party will, in a move he hopes will change the dynamics of representation, field opposite gender as running mates in future presidential and gubernatorial polls, but fell short of declaring the exact start period. You have a story on page 8 and 9 and 10 of the Standard today, and you can see yesterday here a related picture of the G7 launch caucus that was going down yesterday. That is well laid out, as I've mentioned, on page 9 and 10 of the Standard. I'm going nowhere, Raila says, amid ODM succession politics. As the leader moves to calm leadership fears in his ODM party, telling those piling pressure on him to hand over the mantle to a preferred successor that he is still very much around and that there was no guarantee yet that he will clinch the AU Commission chairmanship. You have a story on page 6 of the Standard today, and new radical changes for Paul's body. This story continues on page 4 of the Standard today. Also, hotel to pay tourist 417 million shillings, low as AK chief told to quit office. This is in the sports pages of the Standard today. Big winners in Ruto's 4 trillion shillings budget. National Assembly gives government a green light to prepare 2024-2025 budget. And bombing plot. Terrorist gets 25 years in jail. That story is inside the Standard today. Also, remember, you have the Pulse magazine coming in handy for you inside the Standard today for the young and heart. Make sure you grab a copy of that. Daily Nation missing title deeds in public land rows. That is the splash today. And we have also the sub-headline reading questions. A host of government institutions in the country, from schools and police stations to the courts and even parliament, do not have crucial and that is land ownership documents, exposing taxpayers to the risk of losing the parcels to grabbers or paying private firms billions of shillings in compensation. And you have the story on page 6 and 7 of the Daily Nation this morning. Irony, MPs demanding tabling of KICC vital documents, and aware that Parliament also is a squatter where they are right now, without also a germane title deed or lack of it, so to speak. And you have on the sidebar as well, our diligent police arrested terrorists. Details of how a special police unit arrested 2 men who were yesterday handed lengthy jail terms for terrorism can now be revealed. Also, Athletics Kenya 6 stay after court orders polls. Athletics Kenya has sought a stay order challenging High Court's ruling that ordered its executive to vacate office and organize elections within 90 days. 40 is a page that you need to visit for you to get all the gritty details of Paranya and Joho can lead ODM. This is what Raila is saying, and you can read the rest of the details on page 4. Let's make 2/3 gender principle a reality, urges Ruto. And this is all about the G7 strategy. As we've mentioned before, the president can be seen here together with his administration. Or he said his administration is committed to achieving the 2/3 gender principle. You can read the rest of the story on page 5 of the Daily Nation. Also, inspire inclusion. International Women's Day. Today, let's find inspiration and hope in the trailblazing women and girls who, often at great risk, are leading the way by taking a seat at the table and speaking up, all tucked away inside the DN Voices. Skewed state budget spending exposed. This is what the Star is holding today. Austerity, a budding question there. Drastic expenditure cuts want to mark beginning of change in financial policies. Control of budget says 10 agencies yet to receive any money for development. You have the story on page 4 and 5 of the Star this morning. Empowering women for a better and dignified society. That is the story, and it's all about women and the caucus yesterday of G7. Report why system to compensate police officers injured on duty is broken. And also, there's a roadmap about the NADCO report. Question is, referendum or parliamentary? Kenyans to know verdict in 45 days. Court orders Masai Mara Hotel to pay Chinese 427 million shillings for wife's murder. Other publications will say 27 million shillings. So the numbers differ. You can grab a copy to get all the details of what is the exact amount as well. You have Siasa Fiesta, not Siasa Fiesta, but the Fiesta Pull-Out magazine that is coming in handy for you every Friday inside the Star. grab a copy to get all the details as far as Siasa is concerned. Police in hard place on bars. That is the topic or the splash today. Crackdown. Officers have not only been ordered against owning bars, but also enforce closure of bad liquor outlets, given that the trendy is one of their lucrative sources of cash. Will they bite the hand that feed them? That is the probing question. You have a story on page 4. Court orders hotel to pay Chinese family 553 million shillings. Right, you can see another different figure there. That is on page 3 of the People Daily. And why Kome's boss wants him sacked. That is on page 2 of the People Daily today. International Women's Day. Challenging gender stereotypes to promote inclusion at workplace. 7, 8, and 9 of the People Daily has dedicated those pages for today's marking of the International Women's Day. AU, kikwazo kingine kwa Raila. Pendekezo lililosambazwa kwa nchi wanachama Jumanne lasema ni wagombea wa kike pekee wanaohitimu. So the gender card also is coming to play as far as the quest for AU chairmanship is concerned. Mabadiliko mapya ya sheria za muungano wa Afrika huenda yakamfungia nje kidara wa ODM Raila Odinga kwa kupendekeza kwamba watakaowania kiti cha mwenyekiti wa tume ya muungano wa Afrika mwaka ujao wawe wanawake. That is a story on page 2 of Taifa Leo. Read all about it. Arati motoni kudharao mahakama. That story inside Taifa Leo. We cross over to business, where we have nightclubs now aging out industrial area factories. Changing phase highlights wars of manufacturing sector. Light industry mostly moving to Kariobangi zone. That story continues inside the People Daily this morning, and you can read all about it on page 4 and 5. UK farms pay 6.5 billion shillings for I&M Bank stake. KPLC get not to buy 700,000 meters, and tribunal box taxes on weight gain drugs. All that tucked away inside the People, the Business Daily this morning. In Uganda, Daily Monitor is showcasing the best of A level there. We'll try and make sure we have a full screen there. There are the faces of the best in Uganda as far as the best of A level is concerned. And in Tanzania, they dare to dream, right? You can read all about it inside the Citizen if you're waking up in Tanzania, and how Samia implemented mega projects with renewed vigor. That is a splash this morning. In Rwanda, women own more farming land than men. This is a new report there in Rwanda. In 1999, Rwanda passed and implemented reforms which granted women rights to own and use land. This story is on page 3 of the New Times, even as we celebrate International Women's Day. MP Fatuma Ndagiza bags Gender Equality Award, and you can see him being awarded there by Egypt's Minister of Planning and Economic Development, Hala El Sayed, in recognition of her commitment to gender equality and women's advancement. You can read all about it inside today's publication. Girls be the change the country's healthcare is looking for. Rwanda's youngest neurosurgeon speaks, and inclusion requires qualifications, says Basigo, Rwanda's MD. That is Basigo's Rwanda MD. You can read all about it on page 14 of the New Times. The East African this week has been, of course, paying tribute to Mzee Ruksa Ali Hassan Mwinyi. The former Tanzanian president pushed EAC rebirth, spearheaded political and economic reforms, and killed Nyerere's Ujamaa. You can read all about it inside the East African. The Museveni-Ruto handshake, the Kisozi meeting between the erstwhile and strange leaders is expected to end oil import row. That is the import row that has been simmering, and Kenya planned to woo Addis into Lamu. All that inside the East African this week. China Daily, lastly, we have armed forces urge to strengthen innovation. She stresses significance of strategic capabilities in emerging spheres. All that tucked away inside the China Daily today. President engages in lively panel discussion with fellow deputies. Also, you can see a related picture in the publication. This is editorial cartoon inside the Daily Nation today. Victor, pushing the 2/3 gender rule. That is pick up there. And we can see everyone is headed there. 2024 hashtag, that is International World Women's Day. This is just depicting what is happening as far as today's day is concerned. This seems to have sold, right? And I just want to get Dr. Martin Law, Dr. Isaac Kalua, and Professor John Kindiki to comment, especially on that editorial cartoon. Where are we headed? Have we stalled? Yesterday we saw the launch of a G7 strategic agenda. Where are we at? Yeah. Before you came in also, Barack was here, waxing lyrical. The poet that is. Yeah. I was talking at that particular moment that they were not here, yes, right? Yes. And they was giving us, of course, a rich sheet of history from where we're coming from and where we are today. Martin, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, we missed you last week.
We missed you for 2 weeks, actually.
2 weeks, yeah.
For 2 Fridays, but I'm happy to be back to see the usual suspects.
Yeah.
Dr. Green and the poet. The only gentleman I can see here is Professor Kindiki here. Otherwise, these guys are suspects.
So they're suspects.
We'll deal with them as such. But be that as it may, it's been a great week, and as usual, Kenya never, stops amazing, because the president is telling his deputy that they are going to sit down to discuss how they now need, anytime there's a man, the running mate should be a woman. Now, is he talking about 2027 or is he talking about 2030?
He's probably saying he's not going to run.
We'll get there.
In 2027, Gachagua can run,
many ways.
can run,
yes,
with a woman as a running mate.
Yeah. So it's a possibility. So it's a country of many possibilities. So the promise is that now women can aspire, they can wait for UDA to nominate them to run. What they don't know is running and getting elected are two different things.
The two different things.
Yeah, so that's a good promise. We haven't cracked the issue of the not more than 2/3.
Especially on this panel.
No, even on this panel. You are notorious of not finding people balance in the morning, because you seem to be giving this impression that our other agenda cannot wake up early, which is not true.
Giving impression.
You seem to be giving the impression.
But
so
the
please,
is aware of a shoe who knows these things.
But that said also is that, yes, we still have a long way to go. And it shouldn't be a lip service issue. It's really something that we must all look at, because when you're looking at diversity in this country, when you're looking at inclusion in this country, it's not just about gender. It's about ethnic, it's about fairness across board, whether you're in a boardroom, whether you're in a classroom, whether you are in the high court, the courts, or the executive or the legislature. We are still struggling to find a place for values, and these values are diversity, inclusion, tolerance, being able to carry everyone with you. So to the extent that we are still talking of how to include or how to make special arrangements, it means that we haven't reached a stage where these things are entrenched, in spite of having a constitution that is so progressive. So we seem to be totally stuck. We were told by Justice Maraga that we needed to implement, because the constitution required the implementation of not more than 2/3 gender rule. We didn't do much. We sat on that report and nothing was heard about it again. So we are still, even on this day when we're talking about the International Women's Day, we must say that our women and our other gender is not just, they're not here by accident, they're not here as a favor, they're here by their own right, and that they have skills and they have a place that they should enjoy, and contribution to the nation.
Thank you. All right, let's hear from Professor Kindiki.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dibar, and good morning, viewers. I think we are not yet there, and the issue of gender is a very sensitive issue in the society. because what it determines is not the election of maybe a female or a male in a given constituency, whether a ward or a constituency, a member of parliament, or in the county or at the national level, is determined by the voters. And the voters, when you refer to voters, you're also referring to the society. And the composition of society sometimes dictates, even when the constitution says something, may dictate the opposite of maybe what the elites have stated. Because they see the constitution is just a document crafted by the elite, both men and women. But you see at the local level, that's where all these decisions are made. And when you look at our society and our culture and where we come from, it's a long journey. And the issue of gender is a very sensitive issue. And all issues which touch the society and they are sensitive, sometimes they are just discussed progressively. So it's a good idea, it's a good intent, it's a good conversation that women surely should be represented. That's what it should be, according to the Constitution, and the fairness and the human level. But at the same time, the composition, as I have said, of the society determines so much what happens. So there is what is said and what is happening on the ground. So I think that progressively and looking forward, as we continue to have this conversation of the truth and gender representation, I think it's something that should be embraced. But I find a lot of challenge where maybe a pronouncement that wherever you find a male being proposed for a certain position, then a female comes in. That arithmetic may not be uniform, and therefore we expect some challenges to come. But nevertheless, these are things that can be overcome. But these are just issues which affect the society, and we have to live with them, we have to embrace them, but we have to fight against any issue that brings the society back. And many societies have emerged from that primitive kind of, in quote, primitive in the sense that sometimes we look at it that they are not current. So we keep changing all the time. People will come after us after 100 years. They will see us as if we were very primitive. And because of the way maybe we have been living. If you look back 10, 20 years ago, the same society today will think of those people are primitive. So these things are sensitive. It's a good conversation to start with, but it's something that will be progressive. It cannot be applied uniformly everywhere in the whole society.
Dr. Green, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, yeah. So you can give us also your input as well. I'm well.
Great. I want to congratulate women, starting with those in my life, on this very important day. I believe that they deserve our honor. They deserve what is best, including leadership, as suggested by the president the other day. And I don't think there is anything strange in that statement. One, it could be just a political statement, which was meant for the specific team that was there. And therefore, cameras took it outside by mistake, because politics is also politics. Sometimes it can be. But it can also be, for sure, a statement that is right, because the population of our country today and the world, we can't do anything about the number of women and the number of men. We just have to respect them as they are. The most important thing that makes the entire difference is what are we doing at the family level? What are you doing for the women around your life at the family level? Are you empowering them? Empowering starts with giving them the respect that they so much deserve. Women are flowers. Women are sensitive. Women are very knowledgeable. If any man can do anything, a woman can do it better. And the spirit of feminism is what must drive us in the best way possible to ensure that we entrench what is godly given to us. And therefore, just away from Father's Day and Mother's Day, we need to start thinking, what are you doing at the family level with your daughter? Does she learn something in your life that can be emulated, that can be passed on down there? How are we empowering our people economically? How are we making sure that they succeed in their businesses? How do we nurture them in the best way possible? And I think that is where the crack of the matter is. And we need to be a country that empowers our women, giving them not one day at the family level you're the same person who is empowering and you are battering your wife. You are not nurturing her ideas or even supporting her in the way that she should. And my life is feminism, if there was anything like that. I'm surrounded by a lot of women in my life, starting with my daughters, and I have never imagined the power that comes with empowering them. I mean, you saw the electric car that the president was driving, and what one of the latest bikes that is electric that has been done has been done by a 24-year-old girl. She's got it. She needs it. She needs the support. Look at our hospitality space is run by her sister. And she is 25 and 26. She is doing things that are mind-boggling. Look at their mother and what she's doing. And you see, the stories must end at where we are. At least I know Professor Law is empowering the wife very much, and she's a singer in the church. There are people who will not allow even the least to have your wife get out there and interact with others, do things that are pleasurable to God. And you know, it's the small, big, and everything else that adds up to what the society expects us to be able to do things. So it all must start with me, not out there in public.
Indeed.
And that is how we will empower our ladies. And,
Right.
and as I finish, I'm glad that you tried to run away from the fact that you hardly have women on this
On a Friday.
On a Friday. And may God help you to get women here. It is how much more you go to get them. And
May God help
and
us.
get it all.
Yeah.
I agree. I would give up my seat immediately for a lady who wakes up in the morning to come and speak, because they will be listened much more than us, because they stand for what is right, and they are. And today, as I finish, let me finish with this. Do you know, we are lacking to give opportunities in today's world. Businesses are failing to be profitable just because we are not giving ladies the opportunities. You get to institutions, corporate world today, I'm in the corporate, you find that there is a corporate manager, there is a CEO, there is a strategic manager for this, another strategy for this. You only need one lady, one, who would be able to sit somewhere and use the technology that is available today, including AI, to transform the entire institution in a way that it will be mind-boggling, as opposed to having so many people, and that lady will empower more people, the institution will be more profitable, and there will be more people to get jobs. We are talking of a situation that we don't have jobs, yet we can empower the right people with the right thinking and approach to change the society.
All right.
Ladies will do it for us.
Fantastic. We'll continue with that conversation. Let's just get to the feel and flavor of what happened yesterday, where President William Ruto hinted at the possibility of the ruling United Democratic Alliance fielding a female running mate in the near future. Speaking during the launch of a G7 strategy in Nairobi, he said actualizing the two-thirds gender rule should start from the national government, arguing that the move resonates with his vision on gender equity. Top female leaders attended the event, as Grace Nganga starts off.
March 7th, 2024 will remain a historic moment for Kenya as G7 strategy was officially launched by President William Ruto, a testament of the power of women's solidarity aimed at increasing participation and inclusion of women in political leadership.
But let me encourage you that what the women governors are doing. They are doing more campaign than any campaign can be done. In the good job they are doing in their counties, they are not only inspiring other women to be leaders, but they are making it easier for the country to elect women the next time round.
To increase the number of women governors from the current G7. It's not just a story. We're not just sitting here having this conversation and then going back to our homes. We have a strategy cut out for the next 3 years.
The president affirmed that radical strategies will be pursued to actualize the constitution's gender inclusion threshold, tasking UDA party chairperson Cecily Mbarire to formulate a new set of laws that will require a male presidential candidate to have a female running mate and vice versa.
Going forward, if a man is a candidate for president in our party, the woman must be the running mate. And if a woman is the candidate, then a man can be a running mate.
Further acknowledging that women supported his presidential ambition as compared to men, the president urged men to be the biggest champions of protecting women against female genital mutilation, FGM, particularly in regions where the prevalence is high.
Men, leaders, to work in concert, all of us, to protect our children, especially from FGM, early marriages, and early pregnancies.
The elected governor said although there is hope in achieving the 2/3 gender rule in the country, the struggle for women in politics will still continue.
Please, my brother Kimani Ichung'wah, support us. Make sure we deliver the 2/3 gender rule under your watch, and we'll be very, very happy. Finally,
and now to G24, and I'll reverse myself there on the G16. I pray that for you sisters, whose hands you want held, that we shall be up to this task as we work hard at retaining our seats, because we also can't increase by reducing our numbers.
Mnajua mkitupatia kazi sisi kama kina mama, as we are always there to deliver. Kwa sababu ile kazi tuko nayo, sisi ni kazi ya kufanyia wa Kenya, na ile ingine ni kazi ya nyumbani kwetu.
Some of the G7 strategy declarations and pact were to localize mentorship programs set up in the women-led 7 counties and lobby for women nominations in various political parties. They further outlined an increase in women's participation in devolution and voice in decision-making, unity between women governors with women senators to deliver devolution promises and ensure good governance and financial accountability. Grace Nganga, KT News, Nairobi.
Well, the problem question is, can President William Ruto drop his deputy Rigathi Gachagua for a woman running mate in the 2027 general election? Well, that is the big question, as the president proposes a new set of laws that will require a male presidential candidate to have a female running mate and vice versa. The statement suggests that President Ruto could consider changing his running mate altogether come 2027 while he seeks re-election. And as KTN's senior political reporter Daniel Karuki reports, the statement could leave Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua at crossroads, coming barely weeks after another heated exchange over possible replacement of Gachagua in 2027 election by youthful leader with Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro touted as one to replace him.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's position could be under siege if the 2027 discussion that has been ongoing in recent weeks is anything to go by. During the launch of the Women Governors Caucus G7 strategy Thursday, President William Ruto took time to address the thorny issue of 2/3 gender rule. Ruto asserting that he will ensure the 2/3 gender rule has been fully implemented in his UDA party and in the Kenya Kwanza government at large.
Cecily Mbarire is the chair of UDA, not by default. It is deliberate and it is intentional. And one of the assignments she has is that we must, as a party, lead from the front.
The president would go ahead to suggest a man, woman, and vice versa presidential ticket in the general election, revealing he was in talks with the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua about the future.
When Rigiji and myself tukifika hapo mbele na tumepangana, tumekubaliana vile itaenda, we must also agree that going forward, if a man is a candidate for president in our party, the woman must be the runner. If a woman is the candidate, then a man can be a running mate. Okay? And we must also cascade it down to the governors.
I will be dedicating my time to campaign for women potential governors who have been chosen by their respective parties, to work with them, develop strategies for reaching out on the ground to ensure that we actually increase this number.
But it is the remarks by the president that has sent political shockwaves after he failed to indicate when this provision will be implemented. Many are questioning whether this will apply in 2027 or 2032 for the UDA party.
And I know fellow party leaders in other parties will agree with us, because we all agree, because I'm sure the party leader in Wiper supported Wavinya, the party leader in ODM supported Gladys, and all the other party leaders supported their women candidates. So we will do this not because we want to do anything against men, but we want to balance so that we all move together.
It takes the conscious effort of a party, of the leadership of the party, to get women elected.
With the recent talk, Gachagua's DP position seems to be up for grabs, with some political pundits saying it is President Ruto's strategy to checkmate Gachagua. A section of youthful leaders recently started coalescing around Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro, pushing for him to replace Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in 2027. This talk was, however, quickly extinguished by President William Ruto himself. Daniel Kariuki, KTN News, Nairobi.
If a man is a candidate for president, then a woman must be their running mate. As you can see here, being drawn by GAMS. Keep distance, instant U-turns. This is the KK 2027, and you can see this is meant to be Alana's, of course, insignia there. Caution, driver under merger arguments. That is the MOU. So that is the U-turn that we can see so far. And I want to begin with you, Barack Muluka. So is this being pronounced from the president's lips, or suggestion, as it were, just to tickle the ears of women because it is International Women's Day? Is it a matter of being politically correct, or the president means what he says?
It could be a cocktail of things, and I pick it up from where Dr. Kalua left it a while back, when he suggested that the president could have been doing that for that particular gallery, and that it shouldn't have come out, that the cameras should not have picked it up. And I got a little bit disturbed, of course, Dr. Kalua, because everything that the president or any leader at the national level states or does is our property as the public. And therefore, I think we are justified to read into that communication. And what am I seeing? This could be a Trojan horse that perhaps the president is starting to try to float balloons, various balloons, with the possibility that he has someone else in mind, not necessarily a woman, but just to test the waters, to see what kind of reaction the critical spaces around Rigiji, the deputy president, are going to be like. But the flip side of that could also be that wakishapangana, wakishajipanga. He didn't say nikishampanga. He said tukishapangana. Wakishapangana could also mean that President Ruto, to take a long shot, could also be contemplating doing a Nelson Mandela, that he does one term and he allows Riggy G to run, and that Riggy G has a woman running mate. Of course, I'm fetching it far, but he said watapangana. You see, the deputy president, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, is not just going to be told that you are not going to be my running mate, but we are still in the same outfit, and let us allow a woman to come in as my running mate in the interest of gender balance, and he accepts. That could have reverberations with very far-reaching consequences, and that the president is aware of that. And therefore, finally, I would see that within the same docket in which the president, during the campaigns for the 2022 elections, told women that half of his cabinet would be women. We know that they are not.
We need to check. What are we checking? We know it. They're not. Or what do you mean?
Check the promise and the delivery.
The promise and the delivery.
Against this new one.
Kidiki, you want to weigh in on that?
I think I concur with my colleagues here, but I think, again, that is a statement that the president pronounced yesterday. It's a subject for debate, and that's why there are so many comments from all parts of representation.
We just begin from where Barack is actually putting it, from the promise during the election and the lack of the delivery of it. So how do we take him seriously on this particular pronouncement as well?
Particularly as a footnote, that the half of the cabinet was completely within his mandate and within his prerogative. He did not need to go out to Pangana with anybody. He just needed to say, I'm the president, and I promised women that half of the cabinet would be female. So 12-12.
But Deborah, taking from there, you know, we are living in a democratic environment. Well, as the president, we make a statement, but it's not final. The other people also come in and contribute and make changes. So what is promised may not be exactly, may not be implemented as promised, because the other...
So you make the promise before consultation? Or you make the promise, then you consult, because you were saying you have to ask the president to
I don't know
make
which
promise.
comes first, whether it's the hen or the egg, but in politics, there is no beginning, no end. You know, these are politics. It's not, to explain, what I'm trying to say is that you don't have a beginning and say, this is what I want to do, and it must be done. Because the other players, the other people who are going to contribute. So this is a well-intended suggestion, which is anchored in the Constitution. And as we have been commenting here, it's like, these things starts with the family. You know, as the president, he may say that this is what is required. But you see, when we come to election, there will be other suggestions. But this is a progressive discussion, which I don't think that there should be a definite formula. But it's well intended, because really we need 2/3 gender representation in various levels of the representation in the country. But we are saying that we may want 2/3, but we may achieve even 1/3. That's progressive. That's what we are saying. But it's not real. Some of these things, we normally tell politicians that they are accountable. You know, in politics, it's something very fluid. What I am intending to do, and I really, with all sincerity, this is what I want to do. But you see, when I float it, there will be a discussion, even on this table here. It may suggest something. Maybe I'm your leader. And then Daktari here, professor there brings another idea. And then in the process, the idea is really changes and modified.
Professor,
and it does not mean that it will be exactly presented.
Let him finish.
But I have not finished.
My word, my bond.
Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish.
We are talking about politics. There is difference between politics, maybe another area, and every professional has its own rules and ways, although these things are plain for. Issues about policies are documented in a document like the Constitution of Kenya.
Fantastic. But
this is not a constitution.
Let me ask
something
you, Prof.
debatable.
Can I ask you, Prof? Yes. When you get a charter as a university, what does that really mandate you? Or what is that term charter? What does it give you?
It gives you to start with what, of course, to defend the charter. And,
to defend the charter.
What the charter says and work on it. But even if the charter is there for the university, you don't dictate what is written there. These things are debatable.
So you can veer away from the charter?
No, you cannot.
So let me just.
I've not finished. What is two thans? What is two thans? Does it mean that you start counting and say we are 5, therefore three people should come?
Where I'm actually headed to.
Where are we going for elections?
Okay, the question
then there's no need of campaigns and elections. And this is where the things now go wrong. We may have the good intention of having 2/3, and that's what we want to implement. But when we go to families, as Dr. Kalua stated,
is intention a charter? Because where we're coming from, we have a women's charter, and we had
the challenge you have is that
just
you are not giving me time to explain, and then you can follow. But anyway,
no, I'm just asking you a question, because we had a women's charter. Because what you're saying is you can make a pronouncement, then you go and also get other suggestions later. We had a consultative forum, I think, and there was also a congregation at Nyayo Stadium. There was a women's charter that was presented. If you have a charter, at the end of the day, I think the name charter gives some credence to also what you're trying to stipulate on that particular charter itself, right? It is sort of a creed that you need to abide with, right?
Yeah, so, but the charter doesn't give all answers to the running of a university, for example. The Constitution, likewise, doesn't give all answers to the running of their country.
I will leave it to the rest of the academia's
gender rule.
Academicians here too.
If you look at the Constitution, if you look at Chapter 7 talks about the representation of the people. Article 81B says that not more than 2/3 of the members of selection in the public bodies, blah, blah, blah. So we are talking of 2/3 rule, but it does not give further explanation. That is now where the problem comes.
It's open to interpretation.
It's open for interpretation. Okay. And when you start interpreting the Constitution, it is interpreted differently.
All right.
And those people who are in the legal profession, I'm not a lawyer, they will tell you that this is what the law says. But when you start interpreting the law, it comes up something different, and that's what happens. So even the judge who is presiding, and very good intentions according to the word of the Constitution, but when it's interpreted, then you find there will be challenges and other. But of course, this is the guiding policy and the guiding document.
So what I hear from you,
exactly that's what is going to
happen. We need to take a shot.
Happening.
What I'm hearing from you as well, when we have a charter, that is open to interpretation.
The
charter of the university
is a guide, but it doesn't give all the answers.
It's a promissory note.
It's a promissory note. Okay, can we take a short break on that particular note?
Yes, it's written.
We'll circle back with that.
Promissory note.
Thank you. Well, let's just circle back with that.
That's why, just to conclude the bar, my point, concluding what I trying to explain is that at the end, you find that it's a good intention because the Constitution has laid 2/3 gender rule. But this is something that we are having a conversation progressively and going, and we really support women. They really needed to achieve that. But the journey and the process of implementation are so many challenges. Not even with the leader, but even the people who are being led.
I'm sorry, I have to butt in. I need to take a short break. We take a short break. When we circle back, of course, we continue with the debate as well. What Professor Kindiki is telling us And we know there was a women charter that the promise was given there by the president. So it doesn't hold any water at the end of the day. As he delivered on that particular promise, this is what we need to question. And how should we take him seriously with this new pronouncement that is stripping off his time? See you on the other side of the break.